The lavender shortbread tin hits my chest with stunning force. I stare down at the crumbs scattered across my cardigan momentarily, unable to process what just happened. Did my 48-year-old daughter really just throw baked goods at me at a family dinner? Before we continue, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories that speak to the silent strength in all of us. I look up to find Sophia's face flushed with righteous anger, her manicured finger pointing accusingly at me. Around the table, shocked faces quickly rearrange themselves into expressions of judgment directed at me, not at the woman who just assaulted her elderly mother with a cookie tin. You've always been selfish, Mother Sophia. Spits. At your age, you should be grateful we're even thinking about your future. I brush shortbread crumbs from my blouse, my fingers trembling slightly, not from fear but from rage, a rage that's been building for decades. Let me back up a bit. I always thought I was doing everything right. Work hard, save money, be responsible. That's what adults do, right? At least that's what I've been telling myself for the past 5 decades. My name is Elizabeth Winters, 72 years old, widowed, and as of 2 weeks ago, a proud owner of my dream garden nursery. When my husband Thomas passed away 3 years ago, he left me a modest life insurance policy, not enough to change my life, but enough to finally pursue the dream I'd put on hold for 40 years. I've been saving religiously since Thomas and I paid off our mortgage, living frugally, growing my own vegetables, and saying no to those senior cruises my friends took without a second thought. While everyone else in my retirement community was posting Facebook photos from Alaska or buying new cars, I was working part-time at the library and putting every extra dollar into my savings account. If this story made you feel something, comment 1, if not comment 0. So when I finally had enough $85,000 to be exact, I bought my dream nursery. Outright, no loans, no debt, just mine. It's a half-acre plot with a charming greenhouse about 15 minutes from my house, in a neighborhood that's not too fancy but definitely popular with gardening enthusiasts. The previous owners had let it fall into disrepair, and the greenhouse needs reglazing. But I don't mind. I decided to do the renovations myself to save money. YouTube tutorials have become my evening entertainment. I'm in the middle of clearing overgrown beds when my phone rings. It's Sophia. Mom, dear, I need you to come over next Saturday for a family meeting. She says, her voice having that fake casual tone she uses when she's up to something. Family meeting? What's going on? I pause my gardening, work immediately suspicious. Oh, it's a surprise. Just make sure you're here by 4 and bring one of those lavender shortbreads you make. Sophia, seriously, what's this about? I press, just a little family gathering. Your granddaughter Melissa will be there with her husband, and I've invited Uncle William and his kids too. That raises my eyebrows. The whole extended family for a little gathering. Mom, it's a secret surprise. Just be here. Okay. And then she hangs up. I shrug and go back to my gardening. Whatever drama Sophia is cooking up will have to wait. I have a nursery to revive. My daughter. Sophia is 48 and has been married to Lucas for about 20 years. They live in a sprawling house in the suburbs. Unlike me, Sophia has always had an easier time of things. She was the homecoming queen while I spent my high school years working after classes. She got a business degree on our dime while I worked extra shifts to help pay her tuition. And somehow, Thomas never seemed to mind that I was the one who sacrificed more. When Sophia was growing up, she was always the center of attention. Thomas doted on her, his only child. When she wanted dance lessons, piano lessons, and cheerleading camps, we found the money somehow. When she needed braces, I took on a second job. When she wanted a car at 16, Thomas bought her one, despite my concerns about our budget. I still remember her college graduation when Thomas gave her a diamond bracelet that cost more than our mortgage payment. When I questioned the expense, he said she deserved something special, as if the education we'd paid for wasn't special enough, but I've never been the type to make a scene. I just worked harder, saved more, and proved I could take care of myself. The week flies by as I continue working on my nursery. I manage to clear all the beds and start planning which heirloom plants I'll specialize in. The sense of accomplishment I feel looking at my progress is worth every ache in my aging joints. When Saturday arrives, I wake up early to finish potting some rare dahlias before heading to Sophia's house. I prepare the lavender shortbread as requested and pack it carefully in my favorite tin. As I drive to Sophia's home, I wonder what this family meeting could possibly be about. As I pull into the driveway, I notice several cars already parked. I recognize my brother-in-law, William's sedan, and my granddaughter, Melissa's SUV. Whatever this is about, it's definitely a full family affair. I take a deep breath, grab the cookie tin, and head inside. Mom's here, Sophia calls out as I walk through the door. She gives me a quick hug and takes the tin from my hands. Perfect timing, we're just about to sit down. I look around the living room. Melissa and her husband are sitting on the couch, hands intertwined, whispering to each other. William is talking with his oldest son in the corner. Sophia's other children are already heading toward the dining room. What's going on? I ask Melissa as I approach. She smiles mysteriously. You'll see. That doesn't help my growing sense of unease. The food is passed around pot, roast mashed potatoes, green beans, and the shortbread I brought is placed at the center of the table for dessert. Everyone makes small talk carefully, avoiding whatever elephant is in the room. Finally, after everyone has filled their plates, Sophia stands up, tapping her glass with a spoon. I want to thank you all for coming today, she says, beaming. We have some wonderful news to share with you all. Sophia stands at the head of the table, her smile stretching unnaturally wide as she looks at Melissa. Our dear Melissa is moving back to town, she announces. The room erupts in cheers and congratulations. Melissa blushes while her husband puts his arm around her shoulders. And they're looking for a place to settle down permanently, Sophia continues. I clap along with everyone else, genuinely happy for my granddaughter, despite our complicated family dynamics. Congratulations, Melissa, I say, smiling at her across the table. But Sophia isn't finished. She exchanges a look with William and Melissa, then turns to me with an expression that makes my stomach drop. That's not all she says. Her voice cutting through the chatter. We have another announcement. The room quiets down. Everyone looks at Sophia expectantly, including me. As you all know, Mom recently bought herself a nursery, Sophia says, gesturing toward me. The relatives nod, some of them murmuring congratulations that they hadn't bothered to offer when I'd first shared the news 2 weeks ago. Mom is 72 years old and alone. Sophia continues. No dad, no partner to help with the physical labor. That nursery is too much work for someone her age. I feel my face growing hot. What does my age have to do with anything? Melissa, on the other hand, Sophia goes on, has always dreamed of running a garden center. She and her husband need a new project now that they're moving back. My heart begins pounding as I realize where this is going. I glance at Melissa and her husband, who are staring intently at their plates. Sophia turns to me, her smile now sharp as a knife. Mom, this is your chance to show how much you love your granddaughter, how generous and kind you are. I think you should give your new nursery to Melissa and her husband. Silence falls over the dining room. I stare at my daughter in disbelief, waiting for the punchline to this horrible joke, but it never comes. You can go back to your community garden plot, Sophia adds casually, as if she isn't asking me to give away my $85,000 nursery. You don't need all that responsibility at your age. I look around the table. William nods in agreement with Sophia. Melissa finally meets my eyes, a mix of embarrassment and expectation on her face. That's a wonderful idea, my nephew chimes in. Family should always come first. Several other relatives nod in agreement. This isn't a spontaneous suggestion. This is a planned ambush. If this story made you feel something, comment 1, if not, comment 0. You're not serious, I finally managed to say. Of course I am, Sophia replies, her voice hardening. Your granddaughter needs it more than you do. I stand up slowly, my chair scraping against the floor. Let me get this straight. You want me to give Melissa my nursery. The nursery I worked part-time for years to afford the nursery I just bought with money from your father's insurance and my savings. You want me to just hand it over because Melissa wants it. Mom, William cuts in his tone, warning me to back down. Don't be selfish, selfish. I laugh, the sound hollow, even to my own ears. I worked for that nursery, every single penny. No one helped me, but Melissa needs Sophia starts. No, I interrupt. Absolutely not. I will not give my nursery to Melissa. It's mine. I earned it. Melissa bursts into tears, her hand dramatically pressed against her chest. Her husband glares at me as if I just kicked a puppy. How can you be so heartless? Sophia demands, her face flushing with anger. Your own granddaughter. How can you ask me to give away everything I've worked for? I counter. Melissa should work and save like I did. The relatives begin whispering among themselves. I hear phrases like so materialistic and always was the difficult one. You've always been like this, Sophia spits, always thinking only of yourself. I'm not giving her my nursery, I repeat firmly. End of discussion. What happens next still plays in my mind in slow motion. Sophia grabs the shortbread tin. I brought the one sitting untouched in the center of the table and hurls it at me with surprising force. It hits me square in the chest, cookies shattering and scattering across my blouse. The room falls silent. I slowly brush the crumbs from my cardigan, letting pieces fall to the floor. Sophia and William don't look shocked or horrified. Instead, they seem pleased, as if I've finally gotten what I deserved. Without a word, I grab my purse and keys and walk out, shortbread crumbs still clinging to my clothes. Behind me, I can hear the shouts beginning. Stubborn old woman, Sophia's voice calls after me. We're just trying to help you. William adds, How could you do this to me? Melissa wails. I get into my car, hands shaking so badly I can barely turn the key. As I drive home, I feel something I haven't experienced in decades. Pure undiluted rage, not just at Sophia, but at myself, for allowing this pattern of disrespect to continue for so long. When I arrive home, I don't cry. Instead, I do something none of them would have expected. I go straight to my home office, pull out the key to the fireproof lockbox Thomas had insisted we keep, and begin searching through decades of financial records. If Sophia wants to play hardball, she's about to learn that her mild-mannered mother has been keeping score all along. The next morning, my chest still aches where the tin hit me. A small bruise has formed the purple discoloration, a visible reminder of Sophia's outburst. My phone buzzes incessantly with text messages and missed calls, all from family members expressing their disappointment in my selfishness. I turn it off and spread Thomas's papers across my kitchen table. Thomas was always meticulous about financial records, tax returns, loan documents, property deeds, everything labeled and organized chronologically. I'd never paid much attention to our finances while he was alive. He handled the money, and I trusted him completely. Now, as I sort through the documents, I realize that trust was misplaced. 3 hours into my investigation, I find it a loan agreement from 15 years ago. Sophia and Lucas came to us needing money for a down payment on their house, the very house where she threw shortbread at me. Thomas loaned them $65,000 from our retirement savings, with the agreement that they would pay it back within 10 years. According to this document, with interest, they now owe nearly $95,000. There's no record of any repayment. I continue digging and find more $25,000 for Sophia's failing boutique venture, $15,000 for Melissa's private school tuition, $8,000 for a family vacation to Hawaii that I wasn't invited on because someone needed to watch the dog. All loans, all unpaid, all withdrawn from our retirement savings without my knowledge. By lunchtime, I've tallied over $200,000 in unpaid loans to Sophia and her family money that should have been part of my retirement. Money that could have bought a much larger nursery or funded my comfortable retirement for years. I sit back stunned. No wonder Thomas was so anxious about money in his final years. He'd been giving it all away to Sophia without telling me. In his final months, when he was too weak to manage the finances, I'd wondered why our savings seemed so much less than I'd expected. Now I know. The realization hits me like a physical blow. Thomas betrayed me financially for years, and Sophia was complicit in it. My phone buzzes again. I turn it on to find a text from Sophia. Mom, you're being ridiculous. Melissa's heartbroken. We're coming over tomorrow to discuss this like adults. Like adults? After she'd thrown shortbread at me, I text back, I'm busy tomorrow. I'll call you when I'm ready to talk. Then I turn off my phone again and reach for my address book. There's a name in there I haven't called in years. Martin Keller, Thomas's attorney. It's time I had some legal advice of my own. Martin's office hasn't changed much in the 15 years since I was last here. The same leather chairs, the same framed diplomas on the wall, the same smell of furniture polish and old books. Martin himself has aged his hair now completely white, but his handshake is as firm as ever. Elizabeth, he says warmly, it's been too long. I was deeply sorry to hear about Thomas. Thank you, Martin, I reply, settling into the chair across from his desk. I appreciate you seeing me on such short notice. Of course, what can I help you with today? I pull out the folder containing the loan documents and place it on his desk. I need to know if these are legally binding. Martin opens the folder and begins examining the papers, his expression growing increasingly concerned as he flips through them. These are all loans to Sophia. Yet I only discovered them yesterday. Thomas never told me about them. Martin adjusts his glasses and continues reading. The documentation is solid. These are properly executed promissory notes signed by both Sophia and her husband. The terms are clear, including interest rates and repayment schedules. So they're legally enforceable, absolutely did. Sophia make any payments on these loans, none that I can find, and these records I tap the folder are all I have left of Thomas's financial management. Martin leans back in his chair, steepling his fingers. Elizabeth, may I speak frankly? Please do. Thomas was my client for over 30 years. He was a good man in many ways, but he had a blind spot when it came to Sophia. I advised him against several of these loans, especially the larger ones. I was concerned about the impact on your retirement. I'm not unsurprised. Thomas always gave Sophia whatever she wanted. Yes, he did. Martin sighs. Elizabeth, these loans are legally binding. As Thomas's widow and the executor of his estate, you have every right to demand repayment. However, I should warn you that family financial disputes can get messy. Are you prepared for that? If this story made you feel something. Comment 1, if not comment 0. I think of the shortbread tin hitting my chest, of Sophia's smug face as she demanded I give away my nursery, of decades of putting everyone else's needs before my own. Yes, Martin, I'm prepared. Then let me draft a formal demand letter. We'll give Sophia 30 days to respond with a repayment plan. If she doesn't, we can consider further legal action. As I leave Martin's office, I feel lighter than I have in years. For the first time, I'm fighting back. The sweet, accommodating Elizabeth that everyone has taken advantage of for decades is gone. In her place stands a woman who finally understands her own worth. The demand letter arrives at Sophia's house 3 days later, sent by certified mail requiring a signature. I imagine her face as she reads it, the smug expression giving way to shock and then panic as she realizes the financial hole she's in. Sure enough, my phone rings within hours of the letter's delivery. Mom Sophia's voice is shrill with panic. What is this, some kind of joke? It's not a joke, Sophia. Those are legal documents showing the money you've borrowed from your father and me over the years, money that was supposed to be repaid. Dad gave me that money. He wanted me to have it. He loaned you that money. I correct her, calmly, and you signed agreements, promising to pay it back. This is because of the nursery, isn't it? You're punishing me because I suggested you give it to Melissa. You didn't suggest anything. Sophia, you demanded I give away my property, then threw a tin of cookies at me when I refused. I was upset. You embarrassed me in front of everyone by not giving away my nursery, the property I paid for with my own money. How exactly did that embarrass you? Sophia's voice lowers to a hiss. Listen to me, Mother. If you pursue this, things will get very ugly. I will make sure everyone knows what a vindictive, heartless woman you are. Feel free, I reply, surprised by my own calm, but the loan documents speak for themselves. If you'd like to discuss a repayment plan, I'm open to that. Otherwise, my lawyer will proceed as outlined in the letter. You wouldn't dare sue your own daughter. I didn't think my own daughter would throw things at me. Yet here we are. Sophia hangs up without another word. I expect her next move will be to rally the family against me, and I'm not wrong. Within days, calls begin coming in from relatives, all expressing their concern about my mental state and suggesting that perhaps I should consider getting help. William is particularly direct. Elizabeth, this vendetta against Sophia has to stop. Thomas wanted her to have that money. You know that. If Thomas wanted her to have the money, William, he wouldn't have had her sign loan documents promising to pay it back with interest. He would have given it to her as a gift. You're being overly technical. No, I'm being accurate. There's a difference. Even my granddaughter Melissa calls her voice thick with tears. Grandma, please stop this. Mom and Dad are so upset they might lose the house. They won't lose the house if they pay back what they borrowed, I say gently. And Melissa, why didn't you ever ask me if I wanted to give you my nursery? You let your mother ambush me. I didn't know she was going to do that. Melissa admits I thought we were just going to ask if I could work there with you. That gives me pause. Is that true? Yes, Melissa sniffles. I do love plants, and I thought it would be nice to spend time with you, learn from you. Mom was the one who said you should just give it to me entirely. For the first time since the family dinner, I feel a flicker of softening, Melissa. If you want to learn about plants, you're welcome to come help me at the nursery as an employee or apprentice, not an owner, but only if you apologize for your part in that ambush. Really hope tinges her voice. I would like that. And I'm sorry, Grandma, I should have stood up for you. Yes, you should have. Think about it and let me know. After I hang up, I consider Melissa's revelation. If she's telling the truth, Sophia manipulated not just me, but her own daughter as well. The thought hardens my resolve. It's time to take the next step. The nursery is coming along beautifully. I've spent the past 2 weeks clearing overgrown beds, repairing irrigation systems, and cataloging the existing plant stock. The physical labor is demanding, but satisfying in a way desk work never was. I've even hired a local teenager, Jaden, to help with some of the heavier tasks Ms. Winters Jaden calls from the greenhouse. I found another crack in the glass. Over here, I make my way over clipboard in hand. Mark it on the diagram, please. We'll need to replace that whole section. Jaden nods, making a note on the greenhouse layout I've sketched. He's a good worker, respectful and thorough. In just 2 weeks, he's learned more about plants than Sophia bothered to in her entire life. If this story made you feel something, comment 1. If not, comment 0. My grandpa says you're doing good work here. Jaden comments as he measures the cracked pane. Says this place hasn't looked this good in 20 years. Your grandfather remembers it from before. Yes, ma'am. He used to buy his tomato, starts here every spring. Says the last owners let it go to waste. Well, we're bringing it back, I say, feeling a surge of pride. This place is going to be special again. As if on cue, my phone rings. It's Martin Elizabeth. I've received a response from Sophia's attorney. My heart skips a beat. She hired an attorney. Yes, a James Dowell. I know him aggressive, but not particularly thorough. His letter essentially claims that the loans were gifts and that Thomas indicated as much verbally. That's not true, I know. Unfortunately, the loan documents are clear. I've responded, reiterating our demand for payment and suggesting mediation as an alternative to litigation. Do you think she'll agree to that? Hard to say, but Elizabeth, there's something else you should know. I've been looking into Sophia's financial situation, as you asked. She and Lucas refinanced their house 2 years ago and took out a substantial amount of equity. Their business, the interior design firm, hasn't been doing well. There are tax liens against it. I close my eyes absorbing this information, so they may not be able to repay the loans. It might be difficult for them. Yes, but they do have assets that could be liquidated. The vacation property in Vale, for instance, the vacation home they've never invited me to, the one Thomas helped them buy 10 years ago. Thank you, Martin. Keep me updated. After hanging up, I sit on a nearby bench, contemplating this development. Sophia's financial troubles explain her desperate grab for my nursery. She probably saw it as a potential asset she could leverage or sell. My reverie is interrupted by the sound of a car pulling into the gravel driveway. Looking up, I'm surprised to see Melissa getting out, dressed in jeans and a simple t-shirt, a far cry from her usual designer outfits. Grandma, she calls hesitantly, is it okay if I come in? I nod, watching as she picks her way carefully through the nursery, looking out of place among the dirt and plants. I came to apologize in place among the dirt and plants. I came to apologize, she says when she reaches me properly in person. What happened at that dinner was wrong. Mom shouldn't have thrown the tin at you, and I shouldn't have let her try to take your nursery. I study her face, looking for signs of insincerity, but find none. Thank you for saying that, Melissa. I meant what I said about wanting to learn from you. She gestures at the nursery. This place already looks different better. It's a work in progress, I acknowledge. Would you still be willing to let me help? I could come a few days a week. I really do want to learn. I consider her request. Is this another of Sophia's manipulations, sending Melissa to soften me up? Or is my granddaughter genuinely interested? Melissa, why do you want to work here, honestly? She bites her lip, thinking, partly because I do love plants. I always have ever since you taught me to grow marigolds when I was little, but also I need to do something productive with my life. Mom and Dad have always handed me everything. I'm 25, and I've never had a real job. I've never earned anything on my own merit. She looks at me directly. I want to know what that feels like. Her honesty surprises me. Perhaps there's more of me in her than I'd thought. All right, you can start tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. Wear clothes you don't mind getting dirty. Melissa's face lights up. Really, thank you, Grandma. As she drives away, I wonder if I'm making a mistake, but something tells me that Melissa's involvement might be the key to resolving this family conflict, though not in the way Sophia intended. The next month passes in a blur of activity. The nursery is shaping up beautifully with newly cleaned beds, ready for planting a partially repaired greenhouse and fresh gravel. On the paths, Melissa has proven to be a surprisingly dedicated worker, showing up every morning ready to learn and willing to get her hands dirty. Meanwhile, the legal situation with Sophia has escalated. She's refused mediation, insisting through her attorney that the loans were gifts. Martin has filed a lawsuit in response, triggering a frenzy of activity from Sophia and her allies. The family has effectively split into two camps. William and most of the cousins side with Sophia, bombarding me with angry calls and messages about tearing the family apart over money. But surprisingly, a few relatives have quietly reached out to express their support. Elizabeth, it's Janet, my sister-in-law, says, when she calls one evening, I want you to know I think you're doing the right thing. Sophia has been taking advantage of you for years. Thank you, Janet. That means a lot. William doesn't know I'm calling. He's furious with you, but I remember how Thomas would come to us year after year for advice about Sophia's financial demands. He was torn up about it, giving her the money, but knowing it was hurting your future. Why didn't anyone tell me? I asked the old hurt surface in. Janet sighs. Thomas asked us not to. He didn't want you to think less of him for not being able to say no to her. He was planning to make it right before he retired, but then the cancer came. I thank Janet for her call reflecting on this new perspective on Thomas. He'd known he was depleting our retirement to fund Sophia's lifestyle, yet he'd hidden it from me. Was that protection or betrayal? Perhaps a bit of both. The lawsuit has also brought unexpected allies out of the woodwork. Lucas's former business partner, a man named David Chin, contacts Martin offering information about Sophia and Lucas's financial dealings. They pushed me out of the business 3 years ago. David explains when we meet for coffee. Claimed the company was struggling and couldn't support both partners, but then they immediately bought a vacation home and 2 new cars. I always suspected they were hiding assets. Do you have any proof, I ask? Some enough to show a pattern of financial mismanagement and possible fraud. I'll share what I have, Ms. Winters. Your daughter and son-in-law cost me my business. I'm happy to help you get what's rightfully yours. With David's information, Martin is able to strengthen our case, adding claims of fraudulent transfer of assets to the lawsuit. The pressure on Sophia is building. Then comes the anonymous call. Is this Elizabeth Winters? A woman's voice asks. When I answer the phone one evening, yes, it is. Who's calling? Someone who works for the IRS. I can't give you my name, but you should know that your daughter and son-in-law's business is under investigation for tax evasion, has been for 6 months. My blood runs cold. Why are you telling me this? Let's just say I know how it feels to have family take advantage of you. The audit results will be public record in about 2 weeks. You might want to have your lawyer look into it. Good luck. The line goes dead. I call Martin immediately and relay the information. He promises to investigate, but cautions me against getting my hopes up too high. Anonymous tips are sometimes unreliable, he warns, but this one isn't. 2 weeks later, the news breaks. Sophia and Lucas's interior design business has been assessed for significant back taxes, penalties, and interest. The amount is staggering, over $300,000 the same day the news breaks. Sophia shows up at the nursery unannounced. I'm working with Mama on cataloging a new shipment of perennials when Sophia's luxury SUV pulls into the driveway. Mom, she shouts as she storms toward me, her face contorted with rage. What have you done? Melissa steps forward protectively. Mom, calm down. Grandma is working. Stay out of this. Melissa, Sophia snaps. This is between me and your grandmother. She turns back to me, eyes blazing. Did you report us to the IRS? No, I reply calmly, but it sounds like someone did. Don't play innocent with me. First the lawsuit, now this. You're trying to destroy us. Sophia, I didn't report you to the IRS, but if you've been evading taxes, that's on you, not me. She laughs bitterly. Of course, St. Elizabeth, always perfect, always judging everyone else. Mom, that's not fair. Melissa interjects. Grandma has every right to ask for the money you borrowed to be repaid. Sophia turns on her daughter, incredulous. Are you taking her side after everything your father and I have done for you? I'm not taking sides. I'm just saying, forget it. Sophia cuts her off. I see how it is. She's turned you against me, too. She points a finger at me. This isn't over, Mother. Not by a long shot. As Sophia drives away, tires spinning on the gravel, Melissa turns to me with tears in her eyes. I'm sorry, Grandma. She's not usually like this, but she is. Sophia has always been like this, entitled, manipulative, angry when she doesn't get her way. The difference is that now, for the first time, I'm not giving in. It's all right, Melissa, I say, patting her shoulder. Let's get back to work. These plants won't catalog themselves. 2 days after Sophia's confrontation at the nursery, an unexpected visitor arrives, Lucas, Sophia's husband. He looks haggard, the confident businessman replaced by a man clearly under strain. Elizabeth, he says, extending his hand formally. Thank you for seeing me, Lucas. I nod, gesturing to the small office I've set up in the corner of the greenhouse. Come in. He follows me, glancing around at the nursery with what seems like genuine interest. You've done remarkable work here in just a few weeks. Thank you. Would you like some tea? No, thank you. I'll come straight to the point. Sophia doesn't know I'm here. That's surprising. In 20 years of marriage, I've rarely seen Lucas act independently of Sophia. I've come to offer a settlement. He continues opening his briefcase and pulling out a folder. We can't pay back all the loans right now, but we can do this. He hands me the folder. Inside is a proposal they would sign over their vacation property in Vale. To me, valued at approximately $180,000, make monthly payments of $1,000 for 5 years to cover the rest, and issue a formal apology for the misunderstanding at the family dinner. Why now, I ask, studying the document. Lucas sighs, suddenly looking every day of his 50 years. The tax situation. We're in trouble, Elizabeth, deep trouble. We need to liquidate assets to pay the IRS, and this lawsuit is complicating things. I see Sophia doesn't want to settle. She's convinced we can win the lawsuit. But our attorney, he hesitates. Our attorney says we're likely to lose given the documentation you have. And if it goes to trial, the judge could award you even more, including legal fees. I set the folder down on the desk. Lucas, I appreciate you coming to me with this, but there's something missing from your proposal. What's that? An acknowledgement of the pattern. This isn't just about money. It's about decades of taking advantage of manipulation, of disrespect. Sophia threw a tin of cookies at me, Lucas in front of the entire family, because I wouldn't give away my property. Lucas has the decency to look ashamed. I know that was inexcusable. Yes, it was. And it was the culmination of a lifetime of similar behavior. I need to know that's over, that Sophia understands she can't treat me that way anymore. What would you need to see? I consider carefully. What do I really want? Revenge, respect. Yes, but more than that, I want peace on my terms. A real apology, not just for the incident at dinner, but for the pattern. And I want it in front of the same family members who witnessed the original offense. Lucas winces. Sophia won't like that. I'm sure she won't. But it's non-negotiable. I'll talk to her, he promises. And Elizabeth, for what it's worth. I'm sorry, too. I should have stopped her that night. I should have stopped a lot of things over the years. After Lucas leaves, I call Martin and explain the settlement offer. It's not bad. He admits the property value is close to what they owe. On the larger loans, the monthly payments would cover the rest with interest if they keep them up. Do you think they will? Hard to say. The tax situation puts pressure on them to resolve this quickly, but Sophia seems determined to fight. It might come down to whether Lucas can convince her, and if he can't, then we proceed with the lawsuit. Based on what I've seen, we have a strong case. I hang up, feeling strangely deflated. Despite everything, I don't want to destroy Sophia. She's still my daughter. I just want her to recognize what she's done wrong and make amends. Is that too much to ask? The next morning, I'm preparing to open the nursery for business, our official first day, accepting customers, when Melissa calls Grandma. I need to tell you something, she says, her voice tight with anxiety. Mom and Dad had a huge fight last night about the settlement offer. Lucas told her. Yes, she was furious that he went behind her back. She's planning something. Grandma, I don't know what exactly, but she kept saying she'd take care of it her way. A chill runs down my spine. Thank you for warning me. Melissa, I'm sorry about all of this, she says, miserably. If I'd never said I was interested in the nursery. No, I interrupt firmly. None of this is your fault, Melissa. Your mother's actions are her responsibility, not yours. After hanging up, I call Martin again and relay Melissa's warning. I'll alert courthouse security, he says, concerned. If she's planning some kind of scene at the hearing next week, I don't think it's that. I say slowly, a realization dawning. I think she might try something at the nursery. Martin's voice sharpens. Elizabeth, if you believe Sophia might damage your property or harm you in any way, you need to call the police immediately. I don't think she'd hurt me physically, but the nursery, she's always resented my independence. And now that it's about to open to become successful, do you have security cameras? No, not yet. It's on my list. Get them today, Martin advises, and stay alert. If anything happens, anything at all, call the police first, then me. I spend the day in a state of hypervigilance, jumping at every noise, scrutinizing every customer who comes through the gates. But the day passes without incident, and the nursery's opening is a modest success, with steady foot traffic and several substantial sales. That night, exhausted but satisfied, I lock up and head home, checking the rearview mirror repeatedly to ensure I'm not being followed. The house is dark and quiet when I arrive, just as I left it that morning. As I make a simple dinner, I try to dismiss my fears as paranoia. Surely Sophia wouldn't actually do anything destructive. Despite our conflicts, she's still my daughter, still the little girl I raised. There have to be limits to her anger. I'm wrong. The call comes at 3:17 a.m., jarring me from a deep sleep. Ms. Winters, this is Officer Kendrick with the police department. There's been an incident at your nursery. I arrive at the nursery 20 minutes later to find police cars, their lights flashing. Silently in the pre-dawn darkness, Officer Kendrick, a young woman with a serious expression, meets me at the gate. I'm sorry, Ms. Winters, she says, leading me through the property. Someone broke in and did quite a bit of damage. The destruction is methodical, and thorough plants pulled from their beds and scattered across the paths, soil dumped from containers. The newly repaired irrigation system torn apart and spray painted across the greenhouse in bright red letters, Selfish Old Witch. Do you have any idea who might have done this? Officer Kendrick asks, though her tone suggests she already knows the answer. My daughter, I say quietly, Sophia Winters, Dowell. We found this, she says, holding up a designer scarf in an evidence bag. Does it look familiar? It's Sophia's. I'd given it to her for Christmas 2 years ago. Yes, I confirm it belongs to my daughter. We'll need you to come to the station to make a formal statement, and you should document all the damage for your insurance company. I nod, still trying to process the scene before me. Weeks of work destroyed in a single night of rage. But strangely, I don't feel devastated. I feel resolved. Officer Kendrick, I say, I'd like to press charges. The news of Sophia's arrest spreads through the family like wildfire. By noon, my phone is ringing constantly with relatives expressing shock, dismay, and in a few cases, quiet support. You had her arrested, William demands when he calls. Your own daughter. I didn't have her arrested, William. She committed a crime, and the police arrested her. There's a difference. This has gone too far. Elizabeth, you need to drop the charges. No, I don't think I will. Melissa arrives at the nursery around 2:00 p.m., her eyes red from crying. Grandma, I'm so sorry. I had no idea she would do something like this. Together, we begin the process of cleaning up, salvaging what plants we can, and documenting the damage. Jaden arrives shortly after having heard about the vandalism from his grandfather. This is messed up, he says, surveying the destruction. Who would do this to plants? Someone very angry, I reply. By evening, we've made progress, but the nursery is still a mess. As we're preparing to leave, a car pulls into the driveway. It's Lucas, looking even more haggard than before. Elizabeth, he says, approaching cautiously. I don't know what to say. I'm so sorry about this. Did you know she was planning it? I ask directly. No, he shakes his head emphatically. I knew she was angry, but I never thought this is beyond anything I could have imagined. They released her on bail. I say, is she at home? Yes. She's not well. Elizabeth, this whole situation, the lawsuit, the tax issues, now this arrest, it's breaking her, breaking us. I look at him steadily. What do you want from me, Lucas? I don't know, he admits. I just know this can't continue. We're destroying each other. No, I correct him gently. Sophia's destroying herself, and she's trying to destroy me in the process. I won't let her. Lucas nods slowly. I understand. For what it's worth, I've accepted your settlement terms, all of them, including the public apology. I've told Sophia that's our only way forward, whether she agrees or not. That's up to her. After he leaves, Melissa helps me lock up what's left of the nursery. What are you going to do, Grandma? She asks. Rebuild, I say simply, and wait for your mother to make her choice. The next morning, I wake early and head to the nursery, determined to continue the cleanup. To my surprise, there are already several cars in the parking area. As I approach, I see a group of people working in the garden beds. Janet Williams' wife, David Chin, Lucas's former business partner, several of my neighbors from the retirement community, and even a few customers who had visited on opening day. What's all this? I ask, astonished. Janet straightens up from where she's replanting a bed of perennials. We heard what happened. Thought you could use some help. William doesn't know you're here. She smiles wryly. William doesn't need to know everything I do. David Chin approaches carrying a flat of seedlings. I brought these from my home garden heirloom tomatoes. Thought they might help replace some of what was lost. Throughout the day, more people arrive. Friends, neighbors, even strangers who had heard about the vandalism on local news. By sunset, the nursery is transformed, not back to its pre-vandalism state, but something new and unexpected, a community project. As the last volunteers leave, promising to return the next day, I sit on the bench near the greenhouse, overwhelmed by the outpouring of support. My phone rings. Martin, Elizabeth, I've just heard from Sophia's attorney. They want to settle all your terms, including the public apology. What changed? The criminal charges, I suspect, vandalism carries serious penalties, especially given the dollar amount of damage, and the publicity isn't helping their tax situation. I see. Do you want to proceed with the settlement? I look around at the nursery, at the evidence of so many hands working together to rebuild what Sophia tried to destroy. Yes, I decide, let's end this. The family gathering is held at a neutral location, a private room at a local restaurant. The same relatives who witnessed Sophia throw the shortbread tin at me are present, along with Martin and Sophia's attorney. Sophia sits stiffly at the table, Lucas beside her. She looks smaller somehow, her designer outfit hanging loosely on her frame, her makeup not quite concealing the dark circles under her eyes. Martine reads the settlement terms aloud, the transfer of the Vale property to me, the monthly payments, the dropping of criminal charges contingent upon completion of the agreement, and finally the public apology. When he finishes, all eyes turn to Sophia. For a moment, I think she might refuse, might storm out as she has so many times before, but instead she stands slowly, her hands gripping the edge of the table. I, Sophia Winters Dowell. She begins reading from a prepared statement, apologize to my mother, Elizabeth Winters, for my behavior at the family dinner on April 15th, where I threw a container at her. I also apologize for the vandalism at her nursery, which was inexcusable. She pauses, then continues, her voice less mechanical. I apologize for the pattern of disrespect I have shown my mother over the years, and for the financial burden I placed on my parents through loans that I did not repay. She looks up from the paper, meeting my eyes directly for the first time. I'm sorry, Mom, I was wrong. If this story made you feel something, comment 1, if not, comment 0. The room is silent. I study my daughter's face, looking for signs of the manipulation I've come to expect, but all I see is exhaustion and perhaps a glimmer of genuine remorse. Thank you, Sophia. I say quietly, I accept your apology. The legal documents are signed, hands are shaken, and just like that, the conflict that has consumed our family for months is officially resolved. As people begin to leave, Sophia approaches me hesitantly. Mom, I know I have no right to ask this, but is there any way we can rebuild our relationship? Not now, but someday. I consider her question carefully. That depends on you. Sophia, words are easy, it's actions that matter. She nods. Except in this, I understand. For what it's worth, I am getting help therapy. It's part of the plea deal, but I think I need it anyway. I think that's wise, and Melissa seems happy. Working at the nursery, she talks about it all the time. She's a good worker. I acknowledge she has potential. Sophia smiles faintly. She gets that from you, I think. Not me. As I drive home from the restaurant, I reflect on the journey of the past few months, from the moment the shortbread tin hit my chest to this tentative peace. I've changed in ways I never expected. I've discovered strength I didn't know I possessed boundaries I should have established decades ago, and a community I never realized was there for me. The nursery is flourishing now, 6 months after the vandalism. The damage, ironically, brought publicity that attracted new customers. Melissa continues to work with me 3 days a week, showing a genuine talent for plant propagation. Jaden has been promoted to assistant manager, and I've even started teaching gardening classes for seniors, sharing the knowledge I've accumulated over a lifetime. Sophia and I are not close and may never be again, but we're civil. She makes her monthly payments on time. She sends birthday and holiday cards, small steps. Sometimes when I'm working in the greenhouse, I think about that family dinner, about the shock of the tin hitting my chest, about the rage that propelled me to finally stand up for myself. And I wonder what would have happened if I'd found my voice decades earlier, if I had refused to be the family doormat from the beginning. But then I look around at my nursery, my dream, my creation, my legacy, and I realize that perhaps things happened exactly when they needed to. At 72, I finally learned that it's never too late to bloom. If this story made you feel something, comment 1, if not, comment 0.